Welcome to Backyard Plinking. My name is Charles. I'll be your host as we go through and explore everything BB and pellet related, from air pistols to air rifles, targets, and ammo. You saw in the title, it says Wildfire. Well, let's start here. This is the little 1077 repeater from Crosman. I saw this thing. It's got a magazine, 12 shot, CO2 powered. This is also a 1077 repeater from Crosman. It's a 12 shot magazine that goes in here. Same size, same weight, pretty much. This one has a secret. Not really a secret, but this one is a pre-charged pneumatic. Has a valve that's on the end where you can pressurize it. Now, this one in particular will hold about 2,000 pounds of pressure, 2,000 psi. For years and years, pre-charged pneumatics, I mean, they've been around for a long time, but they were kind of relegated to some of the higher end stuff or some of the hunting rifles and whatnot. So Crosman's like, you know what? Let's introduce people to pre-charged pneumatics and try to make it a little bit more affordable. It is, in a way. The little 1077 repeater, the one that was like 50, 60 bucks, the little CO2. This one will cost you about 149. Well, is it any better? We are going to find out. Take a few shots. I got two of these, so I got two magazines. Doesn't really matter. This one, the Wildfire. Out, I think. Yep. This thing shoots just as good as the original 1077 repeater. We will find out if this thing is worth its salt. So how are you going to do that? You just said this one holds 2,000 pounds of pressure. Well, that's true. The average CO2 cartridge is about 825 psi, something like that. But you have to remember that once you release a little bit of gas, there is liquid that's in there. It takes up the space. It's a long mathematical thing that you could go through and figure out, you know, with a slide rule, a little orphan anti-decoder ring, and get to the actual truth. But we don't have to. We have these two. The 1077 repeater, CO2. Crosman tested over and over and over again. 625 feet per second with a CO2 cartridge. The Wildfire from Crosman / Benjamin, 700 feet per second with lead pellets. 50 feet per second, you know, if we were going 0 to 50, big difference. We're not. It's close enough to kind of, you know, gauge what's going on. Not the total number of shots before it's depleted, the total number of accurate shots, and that's what we'll do. Pre-charged pneumatic. Here's the only other thing you really need to consider. Crosman, Benjamin, they were the first ones on the market doing this. There are several other people that are starting to do stuff to make it cost effective for folks like us that just like to enjoy stuff in the backyard. What you have to keep in mind is you have to pressurize this thing, alright? The valve fitting that's on here is special. So, you know, to be able to get up to 2,000 pounds of pressure. They make special hand pumps. They make special adapters for like scuba tanks and all kinds of stuff. This one in particular is the one that I ordered and I got. A little valve on there. It's got a bleed out that you have to, once you get through pumping in the gun, bleed the pressure off before you take the hose off, because it'll be bad. It's a 3-stage pump. Alright, this one actually will go up to 3,500 pounds of pressure. 2,000 is the max on this. Well, what's the difference? Well, after you see this, if you consider looking at one of these things before you buy a hand pump or something else, consider to yourself, if this works out and I like it, will I buy another one? There are some of them that go up to 4,000, 4,500 PSI, or 250 bar if you're, overseas or whatever. But if you're like this little pump right here, about 180 bucks. So you got 149 in that, got 180 in the pump. But if you think ahead, if you're going to spend the money, buy a pump that can do more than you need. That way, if you decide to upgrade or get a different one or something like that, you don't have to go through the pump thing again. There's no sense in doing this twice. Evaluate the situation, make a decision based on that. And it's not that hard to pump. I mean, it little 3-stage runs through there pretty quick. Let's see. Take a few more shots with a Wildfire. We're out. Just under 1,000 PSI. That's the other thing you have to remember. Just like your CO2 stuff, don't leave them sitting a long time with them under pressure. Spend the extra few minutes, shoot the pressure out of it, make sure it's gone. These you always need to leave at least a little bit is okay, because it prevents any moisture or something like that trying to build up into the air cylinder. You've seen me kind of tease this thing a couple of times over the past few months, and it's finally kind of time to bring it out. We'll do some tests with it. We've got to finish the lead versus alloy stuff, and then we'll get to this. It won't take me very long. Very cool. Wildfire from Benjamin Crosman. Same people. Cool. And next time, my name is Charles. It's been Backyard Plinking. And if I could change my ways, you know that I probably would.